The South African Council of Churches has called for a peaceful, non-violent and free of violence election. This while the IEC has approached the Electoral Court seeking to sanction 2 individuals for inciteful comments. The South African Council of Churches will be convening a national day of prayer on Sunday for the 2024 national general elections. The South African Council of Churches also called on political parties to not use churches as canvassing platforms. Reverend Mzwandile joins me for this conversation. Reverend, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Let's start here. Does it concern you that the IEC has had to approach the Electoral Court in the last couple of days, asking the Electoral Court to sanction 2 individuals for incitement, very specifically keeping in mind the images of unrest that we've seen across South Africa over the last decade?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having us. The South African Council of Churches, from a long time ago, even during the 1994 elections, have committed itself into working very hard in making sure that our elections are done in a peaceful, non-intimidatory, and a very committed spirit of working together as a nation. So if there's anybody who incites violence, that person needs all of us to ask them to refrain from that, because the scars of violence that is caused by politics are too deep, and they are not here, they've not all healed right now. We all want to make sure that we do not remind ourselves of the violence of the past, nor do we act in any way that is new in terms of creating further victims of our political contestations. So whoever is inciting violence, we ask them to desist from that. But most importantly, we ask our communities themselves not to allow themselves to be used as vehicles and pawns for violence for those who do not have it deep in the heart, the peaceful contestation of political office and power in our country. So it's not only for those who incite, we call upon those who are incited, who are asked to participate, to resist and desist from participating in violence, because these elections are our responsibility. This is our country's chance to build on further on the work that we've done as a nation. So please, let us not incite violence, but most importantly also, let us not be incited into acting violently during this time.
Yeah. Churches and religious organizations and institutions have played an incredibly important role in the shaping of our democracy, in getting people out there to actually observe and respect democratic practices and institutions such as voting. And oftentimes that means that churches become a node through which political parties and political actors interact with voters and citizens. But the South African Council of Churches are worried that politicians and political actors may be abusing those platforms as a means through which to campaign in churches, and you calling out against that.
The first thing I want to say is that we are gathering on the 5th of May, this Sunday, tomorrow that is, at 2 o'clock at Grace Bible Church. And part of that coming together is we have invited all political parties that we have sent invitations to, and did our level best to get hold of them, to ask them to come together in a platform where all of us as a nation, through the member churches, we can pray for them to reflect the unity of our people, to reflect that in the pews that we sit in, there are members of different political parties, and all of them must feel that they're at home when they're at church. And therefore, we've created space to pray for all of them. It's not a space for them to do campaigning, it's not a space for them to address us, it's not a space for them to do any other act than simply to be with us in the same space, all of them together, to reflect that this is our country together. This country is our responsibility, which we can work with all of us together. And so tomorrow, we meet as that symbol, as that sign. We have, throughout this campaigning period, encouraged our people not to stop anybody who wants to come to church, whatever political persuasion they are coming in with the church. But we've also said to our people, be careful of the platform being a partisan platform, a platform where some of our congregation members would feel that that's no more their home, because a political party that is not their choice has been given a platform. And therefore, the space of the church itself, rather than becoming a place of unity, it becomes a place of division and contestation.
Reverend Molo, I just want to...
Because that space belongs to God.
Before I let you go, and we are pressed for time, I just want you to repeat those details of the National Day of Prayer that's taking place tomorrow.
It's taking place tomorrow at 2 p.m. We ask everybody to please to be there by 1 o'clock so we can arrange the sitting. It's at Grace Bible Church in Pimville, Soweto. Please be there. Join us as we pray for the country and we pray for the elections that we are going to take place now.
Acting General Secretary Rev Mzwandile Molo of the South African Council of Churches. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it.